This Spellbreak video is going to be a little different than the ones I've put out in the past. Typically when I discuss things live on my stream to be put on my YouTube channel, I usually have bullet points on my second monitor to make sure I touch on everything I want to. However, this video is me answering a viewer's question to, is there a future for Spellbreak? The beginning of the video, I give reasons for why there isn't, and later on I give reasons for why there may be a future for Spellbreak. I also end the video with a suggestion that Proletariat could do if they choose to end the development of Spellbreak. Timestamps will be in the description box below, and just a reminder, I usually have bullet points, but this is just me speaking of things based on the information that we as a community have been able to gather throughout these months. I hope you enjoy. I am curious though, is there any future for Spellbreak? Like, I played during season 1 and a bit of season 2. It came back 2 weeks ago and the game seems hella dead unless I find a stack lobby. I don't know, man. I'm a very optimistic person too. I want to say like they just need to fix a few things with the game. There could be a future because a lot of people, including people who haven't played Spellbreak in a while, enjoy Spellbreak. Like during Hamlin's return to stream, he talked about how much he enjoyed playing Spellbreak. And Myth also talked about it way back in the beta, how like Spellbreak was close to being too great. There's a future for Spellbreak. It just depends on like the direction Proletariat takes with it. There's still a possibility where Spellbreak could be great. It's just not looking the most brightest, you know? Because I like to be optimistic, but I also like to be somewhat realistic at the same time too, if you feel me. And I'm not gonna be someone who like sugarcoats things for people, right? Where I'm gonna we have to be a little bit somewhat serious with ourselves. This man just yoinked. Okay, I was about to say he did not yoink my stuff. We have to be a little bit serious with like the realization, because Spellbreak has been in development since 2018, I believe, is for how long Spellbreak's been in development. And Proletariat, they've made good updates, but in the past, I want to say year, it's just been a lot of head scratching decisions by the developers. So, and if you look at it from a developing standpoint, it's like they put so much work. Like Spellbreak was their baby, and just to see like people not really enjoy it can really take like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Emotional, I don't want to say emotional damage, but like emotional energy away from the project that you love to do. And a part of me wonders like if the developers even still enjoy working on Spellbreak, because after chapter 3 dropped, there was a lot of negative criticism, a lot of negative feedback, and I could feel like that could be very detrimental to your like morale for continuing working on a game, which might be why they're working on 2 other games, which is another reason why I'm kind of worried about the future of Spellbreak, because they are coming out with multiple different other games, right? And that's going to take resources, and if one of those games pops off and is very good or does a lot better than what Spellbreak did, then you can tell like maybe those other games won't really have a future. Because you can look at Fortnite, like when Fortnite was popping for Epic Games, Paragon kind of didn't have a life anymore, because everyone who was working on Paragon was working on Fortnite, basically. Like all the good developers, that's what they were doing, or some of their core developers, I should say. And it's not just Fortnite. It happens again. Like look at Titanfall. When Respawn got bought by Titanfall, or when Respawn got bought by EA, I should say, and they made Apex Legends, and because Apex Legends was so popular and big, Titanfall basically was dead. Like they literally have like 1 or 2 people working on Titanfall. So that's another thing that I'm kind of like worried about. That's why I'm like, there's still hope for Spellbreak. It's just not, I don't know. It's not that hopeful. A thing that I can say, so I won't be all like negative and doom and gloom, is that Dan did say chapter 4 was done. So it'd be kind of weird for them to like just abandon all that effort that they put in chapter 4. So maybe we might still get chapter 4. They might be hitting us with like a Splitgate or No Man's Sky effect, where they plan on just like going MIA for a while and then just have another big resurgence for one last hurrah to see if they can get Spellbreak into relevancy. So that's another thing that could be a possibility. And the thing with that is like if they do take the No Man's Sky approach where they just stay MIA from the community, is that we just don't know when it will get bigger again. Because Splitgate did something similar too, and they were able to get a lot of money and funding for their game because of their resurgence. So maybe that's the direction that Proletariat is taking. But then again, like if Chapter 4 isn't really all that great, if they don't address the whole movement issues in Chapter 4 either, then I can see Spellbreak still struggling. And another thing that was like a hardship for Spellbreak was content as well. Which is like meaningful content too. Not just like, oh, here's a battle pass that doesn't have that many great stuff. Right? Because that was like the Prologue's battle pass and the Chapter 1's battle pass was kind of like, it was kind of meh. It was kind of meh. Same with the chapter storyline. It was kind of meh. Right? So they have to hit it hard in Chapter 4. Like Chapter 4, we got to have maybe 1 or 2 new game modes. One new gauntlet isn't going to cut it for Chapter 4, especially if they're being this quiet. If they do plan on releasing Chapter 4, you're going to need at least like 2 or 3 gauntlets at least. And new runes. We know that they've been working on runes in the past, so like they gotta, if they ever do release Chapter 4, it's they gotta go big or go home kind of thing. But yeah, that's enough of me ranting. I really wish they advertised more. That's the thing, like, yeah, they can advertise, but the problem is retention. That's the problem with Spellbreak, is the retention. Like, they can advertise. Like, advertising, let me put in, like, a metaphor like this. Right? Let's say you bake a cake, right? But the cake is trash. It's horrible. No one wants to eat the cake. But what you do to make the cake look pretty is you put icing on it, right? And that's basically what marketing is for a game that isn't in like a great state or has bad retention. The icing can make the game look pretty and all that stuff, but it's still going to taste pretty bad. Is what I mean. So like, instead of like trying to like just put icing on the cake, they should just like re-scrap the recipe and do something to change the recipe before putting icing on the cake, right? The base of the cake is what I'm trying to say. So that's one of the reasons why advertising it would just be like throwing money away pretty much, which isn't really all that smart to do either. But yeah, I'm still kind of optimistic about the future of Spellbreak. I list like the reasons why it could happen and the reasons why it might not happen either for the future of Spellbreak. But at the end of the day, if you're not in like the core inner workings of Proletariat, you just won't know. If you're not a part, like no one would know unless you're a part of the core or you have access to the core inner workings of Proletariat. Everything that you hear from anyone else will be speculation. And that's all we can do as a community until we have like some concrete evidence to say otherwise. But nonetheless, I'm gonna still be playing Spellbreak just because, like I said, there's no game like Spellbreak, not even close. Valorant's okay. I've been playing a little bit of Valorant, but even then, Valorant doesn't hit the same way as Spellbreak, in my opinion. Oh, I just took his scroll. I'm a horrible teammate. I'm a no good bad teammate. If he wants to take the scroll, he can take the scroll. I'm on autopilot. I'm not really thinking. Spellbreak will rise again. I like it. I like that energy, Zell. I like that energy. I love it. You know what would be kind of cool is like even if they do like maybe quit on Spellbreak, you know what would be nice is if they release the assets for Spellbreak so someone could like maybe make their version of Spellbreak. I know a good chunk of people in the Spellbreak community has been asking for them to give us like the 0.17 alpha version of it, just so people can like mess around and make their own game and have fun with it. I'm not too sure if Proletariat will do that. I know Epic Games did that with Paragon, and I think also with Unreal Tournament, but I'm not too sure if Proletariat would do that for Spellbreak. But you never know. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. That'd be kind of interesting, because there are some talented individuals still in the Spellbreak community, but they have experience with letting previous games go. I feel like one of the reasons why Proletariat didn't like shut down Spellbreak was because, first of all, they put a lot of effort into Spellbreak, right? It's a game that they've been developing since 2018. A lot of time and effort went into it, and a lot of developers like had connections with people inside the community. Shoot, even Flossie, who was a community member, rised up to the ranks of like the lead community manager, right? So Proletariat has a lot of connections with the community. So I think that's another reason why they had a hard time like letting Spellbreak go, is because they love Spellbreak. So I think that's another reason why they didn't want to let go of Spellbreak, even though like Spellbreak's been having a lot of up and downs. And they also had a taste of that success, right? They had almost 5 million downloads within like the first couple of months of Spellbreak. That's really hard to walk away from. So they know they have a concept that people like to. They just need to improve on that concept. So I don't know. Maybe they're gonna be working on Spellbreak while they work on the other games. Who knows? But who knows? Like I said, unless you have access to the inner workings of Proletariat, everything that we say is just speculation.